Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Why do you do that? That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you reach out for the hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Knock it off. That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. AEW, the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Clap, 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 clap. The hardest part of the ring. Hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa. Yay. What is going on, Bob Squad? What are we bushwhacking our way through? We are bushwhacking our way through the 2002 WWE premiere event, SummerSlam, on the Cock Network. Oh, other people have called it that before. That's not so original. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a boring one. Why? Because I have mostly good things to say. I'll try to make my good things as interesting as I possibly can. What an interesting event. Of course, everyone knows we are only 1 week removed from Vince McMahon no longer being in charge of WWE, and this is the first pay-per-view where Vince McMahon is not in charge of WWE. Therefore, this is the first pay-per-view run, and I guess booked. Are we using the word booked? Are we about to booked and booking and booker? Or are we back to book now and not written? It's both. It's both. But you can see the difference in the finishes. And before we all go bananas, let me say this. We really don't know, at least not now, it may come out later, we really don't know right now how much of this was Triple H's influence and tweaking, and my guess is probably just tweaking, or how much of this was the motorcycle just drove by, or how much of this was Vince McMahon's original plan and Triple H just tweaked, subtracted, added, etc., which is my logical guess. The biggest difference you can hear, I think now you can hear the difference in the commentary. Last Monday at Raw, not so much, as we were discussing. Of course, there's still packages out the wazoo. Everyone's long packages are smacking us on the face. Is there still wacky CGI during people's entrances of CGI of belts and of the wrestlers themselves, and the creepy looking Roman and now Uso CGI characters that pop up there? I hate those. But those are things I've accepted that it's just going to stick around. I did not expect, like, the LED board on the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. I did not expect the curtain to replace the ring apron back again and the regular ring post to come back instead of the big square light up. No, of course not. That's silly. And I don't think they are. They are going to come back. I think Triple H is going to go with the evolution, if you will. But the shaky cam stayed, and I think that was my one gripe. The thing I hated most that I was hoping we would lose is the shaky cam when someone does rapid punches, 5-6 punches in a row to someone's head, and the camera has to shake up and down and up and down. It's very silly, it's very Kevin Dunn, and it's very nauseating. And I was kind of hoping that would go away, but they did it a few times. I know the camera cuts, the constant cuts, maybe it's my imagination, but they don't seem as bad as they have been in the past, especially during the Usos and the Profits. We'll talk about that in a minute. There was a few big spots because that's when this is the part of the night where matches started getting more replays during the match, and that's why I bring that up. They were getting more replays, and during those replays, I really expected Montez Ford is doing a big froggy splash off the top, and I'm expecting the cut here, like at least two different cuts in the splash, and they didn't. They just showed it straight, and that was nice. That was refreshing. That doesn't mean when it comes time for Raw on Monday, they're not going to cut the bejeebers out of all those things when they show you all those packages again of what happened at SummerSlam. So who knows? Time will tell on that. But let's start the thing. I saw none of the pre-show except the last 5 minutes. Thankfully, I went out to Vaughn's, the supermarket. I got some sushi. I got, what did I get? I think I got the rainbow roll. It has imitation crab. And let's be honest, imitation crab is the most sincere form of crab flattery. I'm going to make some burgers momentarily, because that was a long time ago. And go through my notes. So Caleb Braxton and Jerry Lawler and the bald guy, what the hell is his name? I don't know. They're all making predictions on who's going to win a thing. I don't remember if JBL or Booker T were there, honestly. Oh no, I think it was the Irish guy. So Caleb Braxton, an Irish guy, Jerry the King Lawler, and shaved head, bald internet fan guy. What the hell is his name? Who cares? So it's July 30th, 2022, WWE SummerSlam. I do not know if this show opened with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. The first SummerSlam featured Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant in their respective tag teams. Hogan with Macho Man, Randy with Ted DiBiase, Jesse Ventura as the referee, which got mentioned tonight, which is hilarious. Another goddamn motorcycle coming by. But either way, I don't honestly know if Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant, and then we saw some brief memories to the soothing sound of John Cena's warm, put you to sleep chamomile tea voice. Okay? I don't know. But if you need to know, and this is important before we continue, at WrestleMania 3 in front of 97,173 people, Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant. Okay? Just so you know. Just so you know. It's 5 p.m. my time. This starts at 5 p.m. my time. And I'm on the West Coast. I'm in San Diego. I'm jacking it in San Diego. We start off with Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belaire. And the few first things I noticed, I didn't realize they were at a stadium in Nashville and not an arena, so they are outdoors. It is big. Everything looks big. Big, 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 big. And the one thing that was biggest of all, and it will factor into almost every match, that walkway is long. As Becky's doing her long walk, and she's actually power walking. She is not taking her time. I thought Becky's going to milk this till Kingdom Come. But no, she was trying to get there, and it was a hike, which made me have visions for later. I'm like, well, how long is Roman going to take to get there? I'll spoil this. The answer is a long freaking time is how long it took. And anyone selling to the back also has a long walk ahead of them. You'll see that again later. So Becky's taking off, and then Bianca enters, and Bianca has to skip. So that's a workout and a half. Most people in that arena are not in good enough shape to do Bianca's entrance for that match. Just want to put that out there. And what a bunch of slovenly fucking pigs that were in the audience. Oh my god, they were disgusting. Kid Rock was there too, and later he makes out with one of them. He sucks. He gets what he deserves. Okay. Becky and Bianca have this wonderful title match. It went longer than 26 seconds. No, they had a great long back and forth, told the story. You can see the difference now. Becky's going after Bianca's arm, and then they do a spot outside, and Becky's going to sell her ribs for most of this, except for one weird spot where Bianca suplexed Becky's stomach first on a barricade outside, and Becky didn't sell her stomach. I think she just was supposed to land on her feet, because then she jumped off the perpendicular barricade and did a leg drop to the back of her neck, I guess. Not a big deal, but Becky had her bumping shoes on. Becky was flying for Bianca. This was really athletic. They are great opponents for each other. They do have great chemistry. I don't want to see Becky and Charlotte ever again. Where is Charlotte? Where did she go? But with that said, was Charlotte's last match at Mania? I guess Ronda must have beat her then, huh? That sounds right. Anyway, so Becky and Bianca have this wonderful back and forth match, and they had some finishes. They kicked out of some finishes, but it didn't feel overbooked, the finish, to me. What eventually happened? I forget. Oh, Becky wanted to do her rock bottom thing off the second, and which she's established because she beat Asuka with it, putting her through a table in San Diego. I was there. I was in the 14th row. So Becky's been establishing that as like a super pay-per-view finisher type of thing. Bianca changes it to that Spanish fly move where she backflips and the person front flips or forward flips, I guess. And then Bianca hit her finish from there, 1, 2, 3. And Bianca, and it is funny because, I mean, it is nice to have the next SummerSlam, okay, we're a year, it's all come full circle. The match a year in the making, except for the couple of rematches they've had, including WrestleMania in between. And I do want to say something about WrestleMania. At the end of this, I'll probably forget, who cares? We are not done. Becky, and by the way, once I saw the pin, the Bob's intuition kicked in. I said she's getting up, shaking her hand. Because I felt like the positive, because I was close, but I was a little off as well. I felt like the positive attention can't all go to Bianca. I just have a hunch. I'm like, no, we need to. It can't. The moment can't be all Bianca. They're never letting that happen. So the new next part of the story is, but Becky's also gracious and does the handshake, the big hug, and Bianca's pleasantly surprised, and of course resilient. I wish, wouldn't it be crazy in real life if humans took as long in real life to shake hands as they did in person? Like you go to meet like your new boss and he sticks his hand out to shake your hand and you wait like 48 seconds and look around the room. You'd be out the fucking door. I love that. Wrestling. But, how weird is that? Anyway. And why are you always asking the people, baby faces? Well, what the hell? They don't have your best interest in mind. They just want to see violence nowadays. They don't care about you. So handshake, hug, we're friends. And Bayley, after a year, finally Bayley returns. It's wonderful. Everybody's jumping up and down. Oh my God, finally. It's been long overdue. Where's Bayley? Where's Bayley? I've been saying it too. Where's Bayley? Bayley returns. And they did this smart. She only walks halfway down the ramp, which is still pretty far. She's got a microphone. Or does she? Or she's just yelling so the camera could hear her. I actually don't remember. But I do remember this. Dakota Kai, of all people. Dakota Kai enters next and returns, I guess, because she was officially released. And she joins Bayley. And oh, okay. Bayley and Dakota Kai are friends. This is interesting. And then Io Shirai, finally. Her music hits. And it took me a second, too, and I knew the music, too. And I'm like, but wait, because it's been a long time. I haven't seen Io wrestle in like a year. Io Shirai is there. And here's the funny thing, and again where the aisle comes into play. Because Io Shirai does this crazy shaking, like scratching her, wagging her head around and waving her hair around, and kind of like stumbling thing. But she... I hate to say she reminds me of Asuka because that sounds racist, but like reminds me of Asuka in a sense that there's never an adjustment from what the gimmick is, that you have to be in this mode and you can't have different moods. And like why wouldn't Io start walking normally or half normally at some point through it? But no, Io has to do this wacky stumble all the way halfway up the ramp. Halfway up this ramp is still 2 Raw ramps and probably 3 Raw ramps. So it looked really funny to me. It's not really a ramp; it's a walkway because it's flat, but which is good. And we just need that damn look. We just need that change, that different look. I like that. Just okay, it's flat. Just something else. So there's a little platform, and then you go down the ramp, and there it is, and yada yada yada. And you walk differently when you walk down at like a 30-degree angle or whatever. You don't walk the same as you would flat. So that doesn't really matter, I guess, but it matters to them, doesn't matter to us. But okay, so the 3 of them look like they're about to beat up Bianca, and Becky stands side by side with Bianca. And eventually, we've already had 3 crazy returns, like back to back to back. And the heels step out and they leave, and people boo the heels. Good, because now we actually want to see some kind of multi-person women match, 6 women tag or 1 tag, and maybe Bayley has the other 2 NXT related women wrestle her matches for her, whatever the fuck. Something like that. I don't know, whatever. But you could have new matches. We can do Bianca Dakota, Bianca Io, Becky Dakota on their way to Bayley, but Bianca is the champion. But can we trust Becky? Because she's still gonna maybe be sour about that loss, yada 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 yada. So it's interesting. We don't know where it's going. Yay! 2 thumbs up. We gotta move on. This is gonna be too long. Number 2, The Miz wrestles Logan Paul. Okie dokie. Miz and Maurice, whose wife is hot, and Tommaso Ciampa, who is not a bad-looking guy himself, but he's no Maurice. They walk down to the aisle. Takes very long. Logan Paul enters. He's dressed like a heel. He looks like a heel. He makes heel faces. Why are we supposed to cheer him? I don't know. But he has this match with Miz, and no surprise, he keeps up his athletic end of the bargain like he did at WrestleMania. Except this time he's all by his lonesome. It's just him and Miz, so there's more pressure on. Okay. Fine. What was my original point? I forgot what my point was. Okay, so they're having their match, and Miz is toying with Logan, and Logan's throwing the insults back, and there's nothing wrong with this match. It's good. It's good. Again, Logan's a very athletic guy. You could see Miz. That's the thing with short-haired guys. You can see Miz putting the arm up when there's a little bit of a double down, and Miz puts the arm up, and you can tell, okay, he's clearly talking to him. But whatever. If you don't know to look for that, you're not going to see it. Who cares? That's Tommaso Ciampa does get thrown out. He's about to interfere. He's standing on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And the referee says, "You get out of here." And Ciampa does something interesting. He says, "No." And he takes a chair. And he sits down on a chair. Sitting down on a chair is not all that interesting. It's actually what you're supposed to do with chairs. It's the most boring thing you can do with a chair. However, he refuses to leave. And AJ Styles' music hits, and everyone jizzes in their underwear. Ew, sorry, I'm sorry. I apologize. No, but AJ doesn't come down the aisle because that would take 4 days. He ain't doing that shit. He jumps over the barricade and he fights Ciampa and throws him over the barricade, and they fight into the audience and are never seen again. They're still fighting in the audience even though the people are starting to go home. They're stuck in the parking lot cursing each other out right now, stinking of nachos and farting because they're slobs, but let's be that as it may. And then Logan Paul sets up the Miz on the announce table and does a frog splash off the top. He even took off the cover that covers the turnbuckle, the strut that connects the buckle to the post, which I thought was kind of an asshole thing to do. You don't fuck with the ring. Like, you don't. Everyone else can do it without it. What's the problem? Anyway, hits him right on the mark. Like, nails it picture perfect. The frog splash on the table. Rolls Miz into the ring and hits the Miz's skull crushing thing. 1, 2, 3, and I think it was Michael Cole who said, "This is unreal," and I believed him. It looked fake as well. No, Logan wins, and it was a happy moment, and the internet celebrity got his win. It doesn't hurt Miz any because it doesn't matter. Everyone knows this is a one-off. This is still very good, and the crowd is hot, and the outdoors is still helping it. It hasn't really gotten dark yet, too. I kind of like those outdoor pay-per-views where the first 2 or 3 matches are still fairly bright enough. It just looks different. Because when it gets a little darker, it doesn't look as outdoorsy anyway, so whatever. We have a little skit next, a little vignette for Maxine Dupree, who I guess is the sister of Max Dupree, who have these model wrestlers, these 2 dudes, and it was a commercial. It was a fake commercial for their bottle of water called Pure Life or something. But this struck me as more Triple H humor, like Vince McMahon humor. They'd be shitting and pissing and farting and vomiting because it's Vince McMahon, and somebody would be gay and that would be the joke. But Jesus, Bob, didn't need that last part. But no, this is Triple H humor where they're just dumping so much water on themselves and spilling it and being over the top goofy with it. Very Fandango-ish. Like, I chuckled. I hate to say I chuckled because I like LA Knight. He shows up at the end. I thought he was gone. I thought they just gave his gimmick to this Maxine Dupree person. But he shows up at the end, seemingly not even in the same camera shot. He's not shown with the 3 of them. And just says something about the water and his modeling group. And it didn't make a lot of sense. But and then there was a commercial for DoorDash for WWE wrestlers where Bianca's eating sushi and Sheamus and Drew are brawling in a cafeteria for no reason whatsoever. Third match. Theory challenges Lashley for the U.S. Championship. This was interesting. We kick it off with Theory hitting the briefcase shots on Lashley. Yeah, and that was that. They had a nice back and forth. Theory went really high up for that kind of spine-bustery thing. It's not a choke slam because he picks you up by your titty. And he took the titty slam really well. Raquel Gonzalez, when she was Raquel Gonzalez, and then she ended up in Raquel Rodriguez and developed a disorder where she can't stop smiling yet. She used to do the titty slam, but Theory took Lashley's titty slam great, and he gets caught in a hurt lock. After a very good match, good solid action, and taps out. Lashley wins, Theory goes away, and I think the announcers were still making the same point. Hey, he might be preserving himself for another day. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Because he has that briefcase, he can cash it in, blah, blah, blah. The 4th match, the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley accompanies Finn Balor and Rey, and then Damian Priest to fight Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Nice tag match. So this was a no DQ match, which still had tags. Cool. There was a chair here and there. I was losing it. I think the first three matches actually, even though it doesn't sound like I spoke highly of Theory and Lashley, but the match had a lot of thunder. People were still they're into Theory. They're into booing Theory, and Lashley's gaining him. He's liked. He's not loved, but he's liked a lot. So they like him for what he is. He's impressive. Yeah, if he's not going to have a manager, honestly, I agree that he's a babyface. If he's not going to have MVP, just make him a babyface. Because why are you going to boo this guy? You're going to cheer. You're going to want to see him kick a smaller, annoying person's ass, right? Yeah, so it's fine. Anyway, the Mysterios win this goddamn thing. Go figure. How did they win again? Oh yeah, Edge returns at some point. So there's theories, there's chairs, there's this, there's that, and the other thing. It was like a Brood-like entrance. It wasn't the Brood music, but Edge rose from the floor, but he didn't rise to the floor because I guess you couldn't go underneath the floor. So he rose to the top of a staircase that was there for the purpose of him to climb to it, and then walk down the stairs. So basically, he had a sitcom staircase. He had a staircase that went nowhere. You know, like on sitcom situation comedies, that's what that's short for in show business. Like in Full House, like if you go to the top of the stairs on that set, I'm sure it's dismantled. Fuller House, same thing, I guess. But if you go to the top of the steps in real life, there's nothing. You have to come back down. There's probably like a little tiny wall that you kind of hide behind, or something like that. I'm sure. I don't really know, but it's just enough that you can't be seen, and then you come down the steps. But the stairs go nowhere, and that's basically they had to bring out stairs to nowhere just so he can rise to the top of them and walk down them. Which is kind of silly, but there were flames and red lights, so yay. Edge comes and he spears the bad guys, and the Mysterios pin the bad guys. That's all I remember there. So there you go. Next we go to Corbin. Happy Corbin comes out, and there's a choir that calls him a bum ass. And the choir is singing that he's a bum ass. I'm not kidding. And it's a choir of all dudes that are ugly and dressed in black. I don't understand it. And then they start doing Pat McAfee's music, and Pat McAfee, who's the announcer on SmackDown, if you don't know, it is a SmackDown match. I don't usually cover the SmackDown things on the hardest part of the ring. Pat McAfee, so this is the second match of the evening where we have a non-regular wrestler versus a trained but non-regular physical person wrestling one of the regular people on the roster. In both cases, the regular non-wrestler is a babyface, or supposed to be one anyway. But Pat is actually liked. People like Pat. They have this fun back and forth match. The commentary was fun. Cole and Graves were getting pretty loose with it, which was good. They were just being natural. Pat McAfee drank a beer after them. I'll tell you about who won this night. Pat drank a beer at one point that someone gave him, because Pat just kind of does whatever. I don't think he needs the money, so. And then Graves said, "Cole, you one time I did that, and you made me take a week off." And Cole replied, "Well, something about where you didn't need your drink at the airport or something like that," which I think you do. I mean, it's not like he was flying the goddamn plane, but whatever. This was fun. McAfee was athletic, and the announcers told us about the history between the two. Just in case you don't watch SmackDown, like myself, and they allowed me to catch up on the feud and why it was important to them anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. That's all I needed. And I guess they were roommates at one point when they were playing for the whatever NFL team plays in Indiana. I really don't know. I hope it's still Indiana, maybe it's Illinois, who cares? No, because Illinois would be Chicago Bears. No, it was somewhere in Indiana. Maybe it was a college team, too. I actually have no idea. But anyway, Corbin beats him. It looked like Corbin was trying to go for his, what's the name of that power? It's the Canadian Destroyer or whatever, or the Panama Sunrise, for you Adam Cole people. And he ended up, I don't know if he purposely overshot him, and ended up hooking that kind of sunset flip powerbomb thing, which is what he hit into the pin. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. If he just overshot him and Baron went with it, or that was the plan. I really don't know. I was surprised because that's the move he's been doing in these other one-off matches. So, because Corbin was very close when McAfee jumped off the second turnbuckle. Again, a lot just happened in the main event that it made me forget a lot of the rest of the show, which is okay. It's a main event. It's supposed to do that. So there you go. Pat wins clean. Oh, yeah. Let me at least mention this. Pat is standing on the top rope, and not the buckle, but like kind of on the top rope, ready to dive down to ringside onto Baron. And he wobbles back and forth, and now before he even steps, Cole says those ropes are so slippery from the humidity. And Pat wobbles back and forth, and I thought, no way is he making it. And he maintains his balance. There's a whole big 40-something thousand people going, whoa. He maintains his balance just enough to take that step forward and do that front flip thing, which Cole had a silly name for, I forget what it was, onto Baron Corbin. So he made it. Good for him. So Pat McAfee wins, everyone is happy. So just for the record, on this show, 2 wrestlers lost to non-wrestlers. I just want to make that clear. But they were heels, so whatever. And they're not even really... I can't even really call them top heels. Miz is always a top guy in a way. He's a utility guy. He's where do you need him? And Corbin, I guess they're using like that too. I don't think he does it as well as The Miz, but I'm not even that big on The Miz, but fair is fair. Miz is a utility guy. Where do you need him? That's where he is. You need him in the main event. You need him in the first match. You need to do something goofy with a lot of talking that takes up a lot of segments, which is usually what they've been doing with him in recent years. He's ready. And Maurice is semi-available whenever. I love Maurice. What's not to love? But if we see you every week, it's not special. Bob, what's wrong with you? Just put the hot lady on TV. Okay, fair enough. Let's see you all the time. More Maurice. Okay. Drew McIntyre has jeans and a sword, and he walks out just a little bit to cut a promo about how in 2 weeks there's some event, Clash at the Castle, which is in Cardiff, and Cardiff is in... Oh, god damn it, Mark, where are you? Help me out. Is it in Scotland? Cardiff? Cardiff's not in Ireland, no. I'm going to say Scotland. Or some part of the UK that's near Scotland. Well, Bob... Wait, isn't Scotland part of the UK? Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't know anymore. Anyway, Drew McIntyre has jeans and a sword, and he asked some kid his name, and I guess the kid's name was Colt, and he got everyone to chant Colt for a second, and I thought that was kind of cool. And he kept saying it'll be, tonight is Brock and Roman for the first time ever, which I think he was being sarcastic. At first I thought he fucked up, but then he said it again. I'm like, oh, I think he's being sarcastic because it's the 90th time on pay-per-view. So, Drew's going to challenge for the thing at their UK pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Is that going to be on the network? I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I might as well just throw it on. I watched that instead of the Saudi things. Jeff Jarrett is the referee for the tag teams, the Profits, and the Usos. Yay. At this match, it had a lot of build for it. They put a lot of time into it in the last few weeks for getting us hyped up for this and making us believe this is important. So, for that, I was ready for it. They've shown slight tweaks in the characters of both the Street Profit guys. So that was interesting. Which we needed, not just for them, but just for this rematch of rematches just needed. And Jeff Jarrett's the referee, and Jeff is great. He's early on. He's just doing the spots with both guys. He's telling the Uso, who backed up a Street Profit, hey, break when I say 5, yada yada yada. Does the same thing for the good guy, for the Street Profit after. They're going through the wrestlers' special guest referee spots that they go through. Okay, and Jeff knows all those, and he knows exactly how much of that to do, and then get out of the way, and then whatever his spot is to remind him he's the special ref, and then get out of the way, that kind of shit. They started slow, which is good and fine. There's nothing wrong with that. One smart thing, Montez Ford was on the ring apron, his hardest part of the ring. And one of the first hot tags of the match, Dawson was trying to tag him. He had just given a boot or an elbow to an Uso, charging him in the corner. And Angelo Dawkins is crawling, and they'd been a little sleepy for this first 5-6 minutes or so. And right before that tag, Ford turns around from the ring apron, hardest part of the ring. He just faces the people. This guy's back to the hard cam. Who cares? let it happen once in a while. It's not the end of the fucking world to not always be glued to the hard cam 100% of the time. At some point, you have to interact. He just turns to all the people sitting there and goes, ah, whatever he does. He just yells or something. And they made noise too, and at that point, that was the loudest noise of the match. And then he makes his tag, and then they cheer his tag. He made sure that the people who were sitting there were alive. Because I didn't get too tired or sleepy in this 3.5 hour thing. Because this time, the people were awake and alive. When the people are awake and alive, it transforms the show. It doesn't just help the show, it transforms the show into a fun show that I probably could have watched for another half hour, 40 minutes. It's maybe not a great idea for your health, but still. Anyway, these two teams, then they start with the big false finishes, the big double splash Ford kicks out of, I think. Everyone's kicking out of stuff, which is par for the course with the Usos tag matches, last recent years. Eventually, Montez, something goes wrong. He hits a big froggy splash, the one that wasn't interrupted by the jump cuts on a replay, the one I mentioned earlier. And he takes away, he sells like he got hurt with the froggy splash like Van Dam did. So it takes a long time to cover the Uso. The Uso kicks out, Montez gets mad. Montez Ford gets mad. He beefs with the referee, Jeff Jarrett. And also, I'm rambling off. I like how Corey Graves said that Jeff Jarrett was the RE single FER double E referee, Jeff Jarrett. I got a kick out of that. That was enjoyable. And when else can you do it? No one referred to him as the Jeffery between it. Okay, who cares, Bob? Move on. So yeah, I think Montez ended up tagging Dawkins and then getting bumped out of the ring or stuck out of the ring somehow, and Dawkins got hit with the 1D, which is the 3D or whatever, from the Dudleys. And the Usos hit the finish on Angelo Dawkins, I'm pretty sure, and pinned him. Unless they pinned Montez Ford with it. But I don't think they did. Okay, well they pinned. Anyway, the Profits lost, the Usos won. Collective groan, because I really thought it would have made the Profits for winning this thing, but it depends on where they're going. Really. Not just the fact that I wanted to see something different happen. It depends on where they're going with it. So they show Montez pissed off, and the commentators brought attention to the fact that Montez's temper probably cost them this whole thing, and yada yada yada. There was no beefing between Angelo and Montez. Montez didn't turn on Angelo and beat him up right then and there. You don't have to do all that stuff the same night. Okay, that's overbooking. That's getting ahead of yourself. There's a 3-hour show on Monday. There's a 3-hour show the Monday after that. But even when there wasn't back in the day, you need the people to wonder what the hell is going to happen next sometimes. Like, will they, won't they, will they, won't they? They've given us no indication that either Street Profit is turning on the other one. They've called attention to the fact that, hey, they're growing up a little bit. That's it. So that's fine. Oh, then the most disgusting night. We cut to Chris Rock in the front row, which is disgusting enough in itself. But, Jesus Christ, it was better when he was only spreading COVID in his live appearances. So, and I hate to shame the lady, but, she was, not because of her body, but because she was sitting with Chris Rock, so I feel it's okay to do that. He's sitting with this slovenly large. She doesn't even wear it well. You can be a big gal and wear it well, and you can rock it, and it's cool. She's not wearing it well. Like what if Honey Boo Boo's mom was like having a bad day? Like, Jesus Christ, this was slovenly and gross. He's sitting next to this hog, and he holds up his. I think he had a beer. In my head, that's what I see, and he looks at the camera, and some people react because it's Kid Rock. And then they just start openly tongue-kissing right in front of the camera, and they cut away pretty quick. It was just gross. It was really gross. It was so gross that I went and found a pic and downloaded it on my phone, and I was almost going to use that for the cover pic for this video. Or this podcast, whatever, wherever you're watching it. Listening, whatever. And I decided not to because the main event had something so crazy. I just have to use that instead. But it's probably for the better. Yeah, it was just disgusting. Like, who's... Can they get rabies if they both have rabies already? Yeah, it's just... My God. Like, never mind monkeypox, whatever. That kiss invented a new disease. We don't know what it is yet. It's... Oh, jeez, you got hillbilly pox. Ugh. Son of a bitch. Can you imagine, like, how much Coors Light and Pizza Hut did each one taste? Ah, mother of pearl. Okay, are you done with that, Bob? You want to just move on? Okay. Yes, please. Riddle shows up in shorts. They talked about his spinal injury, so he has kinesio tape on his shoulder, thankfully. Riddle is very upset, and he says Seth Rollins is a little bitch or something to that nature, and calls out Seth, and Seth takes the long walk to the ring. And Riddle starts beating him up and kicking him and punching him and kicking him, but Riddle's got a bad neck, they've reminded us. Seth gets some shot in, Riddle goes down, Seth does his finish, the stompy stomp on Riddle, and he walks away and does his laugh as he gets dragged away for 1.5 miles from the ring to the entranceway. But we got to see Riddle and Seth Rollins on the show, so that was good. Ronda, well, I don't think Riddle's injured if they let him take the fucking bump, but something's up. I don't know. Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan. What about them? They had a match. For weeks I was most curious about this match of all matches. And then the whole Vince thing and then the Brock thing kind of took my attention away from it. But yes, I was most curious about this match. My question being, how the hell do you work this match? Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. And not even worried about making Liv look competitive. Make it look like Liv should last more than 10 seconds, 5 seconds with Ronda Rousey. Let me take a swig of water. Hold on. Thanks. They didn't do half bad. I mean, Ronda threw Liv around, and they had Liv barely crawl to the ropes every time she's caught in a hold. So I'm like, okay, they're doing the best they can with this. Ronda needs the right opponent to make her look good, and Liv needs the right opponent too to have a match with her. So I'm not going to say that these two had amazing chemistry or that these two should wrestle each other several times. It looks like there's one more match in the works, but I LOL'd. They had Ronda have Liv in an armbar and Liv on the verge of tapping. Of course, Ronda had her shoulders down, and because we know she knows little about pro wrestling, she left her shoulders down for the count of 3. And initially, I didn't see the other part of that, so I just saw, oh, okay, that's their out, and that's clever, and let's leave. I would have been fine with that being the finish. Ronda just got so carried away, she didn't realize her shoulders were down, and that's how Liv escapes by the skin of her teeth. Barely, with her neck intact, gets out of that ring with that title, and that's that, and we move on, is what I thought we were going to have happen. But Corey Graves was throwing a hissy fit saying, no, Liv tapped. And then we show a replay of only Liv's lower half, which no one complained about. Bob. Well, that's what happened, okay? I didn't choose the camera shot. Choose that fucking pervert with the buck teeth who's out of a shot. Okay, well, whatever. He's a millionaire. He doesn't need a... He's got a few million, I'm sure, so he doesn't need to worry about it. But whatever. Then they show another angle, and you can see right when the referee counted to 2 on Ronda's shoulders, Liv was tapping. So Liv should have actually lost this match, but the referee didn't see it and counted to 3. And Ronda obviously has a legitimate gripe, and I like this too with the announcers. They're able to act a little bit more like people outside of Vince's presence, because then Cole, who had been bickering with Graves all night, especially with the Pat McAfee stuff, Cole was able to say, you're right. I saw it. We all saw it. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just arguing with Ronda's reaction to it, and we'll get to that. Which, it was nice to hear the announcers just sometimes just react like people. It's the way workers do when you're wrestling. It's the difference between a wrestler and a worker. worker. Like, and you always hear with acting, and acting is really reacting. It's cheesy and lame because it's a cliche, but it's also very true. So, anyway, Ronda throws enough of a hissy fit, and she beats up Liv and makes Liv tap, and the officials come out. Jamie Noble and the Daivari guy and a few others. Ronda did the move to the referee too, like one of her throws to the referee. And that's a good out too. That's an excuse to give Ronda more time off and for Ronda to not be on TV. Because if Bayley and her two buddies are all going to Raw, then and if this is an excuse for SmackDown to not have Ronda, because Ronda needs to go play on a farm or whatever the hell she needs to do, milk some cows and feed the chickens, whatever's going on in her life. Then Liv needs opponents. And Liv shouldn't be wrestling next Friday anyway. Now she's supposed to have a hurt arm. So, now what? I don't really know. Natalya just got a shot. So, yeah, maybe a few more of those women. Unless Bayley's group says, screw it, let's go to SmackDown too. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with Sasha and Naomi either. The internet says they're probably coming back now. I don't know. As of this moment, of this recording, they do not work there. That's what we know. Oh, the goddamn mayor of Knoxville County, Kane, is there, and he showed up and he told everyone to, you better have babies if you want to or not, and then told everyone to shoot their guns in the air and spit in each other's COVID-infected mouths, and then, whatever, and then they hit his pyro thing. Fuck him. He said there's 48,449 people in the arena, which is crazy. They started the night with 40,000, so I don't know where those other 8,500 came in. Maybe it took them so long because they were all walking down the same walkway. Actually, no, 7 of those extra 8,000 apparently went up a staircase that went nowhere, and then it lit up in flames, so they had to walk back down. Made no sense, but that's what happened. I'm a journalist. The main event. Should I even bother with my notes for the main event? Last man standing, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. The last match between these two ever, which I don't believe, by the way, because they never did the sell. That's why I don't believe that. But I think they're flat out lying to us. I'm going to do the goddamn Hell in a Cell with those two at some point. But who knows? How do I start this? Roman enters first. It takes 4.5 days. I took a leak. I brushed my teeth. I'm not kidding. I came back. I said, okay, Brock's probably showing up. Roman is still there, stepping in the ring. He's got his finger in the air. He's got his finger in his ass. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. The weird CGI creepy thing of Roman, which they put over video of the actual guy live, which I don't understand that thinking. Brock Lesnar comes to the ring driving a giant tractor. I did not make this up. He's driving a huge red tractor. It was just sitting there the whole night or something. And it's got a big front payloader thing. And motherfucker drove a Constructicon to the ring. That's for you, Chris. And he does this. And because there's a lot of back and forth with the tractor. Which is good. It has a transmission. And he hangs the front load thingy over the ring, so it's parked right, a foot from the ring apron, is the hardest part of the ring. And then he stands in the front loader gimmick and introduces himself somehow. I think he introduces himself, he takes the thing, he interrupts the ring announcer, then he gets up there. I missed how he got up there. And he's up there, and then Roman Reigns is being introduced. Roman Reigns turns around and looks at Brock, and Brock, to my surprise, I should have seen this coming, and shame on me, I did not. Brock starts the match by jumping off the payload thingy. Not a payload, it's the big shovel gimmick of the tractor onto Roman Reigns, and ring the bell. The match has begun, clearly. And we go immediately to the outside, and this is where I got mad at the Nashville fans. These fucking soulless, brainless pigs that make me sick. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, two colossal men and huge stars,
topple over the barricade. They're swinging at each other's heads right next to you. Idiots don't move. They're all taking selfies of their heads with the two guys in the back, these two gladiators. Why did you buy a ticket? Did you buy a ticket to take a selfie so you can get extra likes and go, look, I'm right next to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? You should be so invested in this if you bought a ticket. Because by the way, you ever see what those pay-per-view tickets cost for an okay seat? If you're in the fifth row for a pay-per-view, especially in a stadium, SummerSlam, tell me that ticket didn't cost $1,000. Because I think it fucking did, okay? And I'm being nice here. I'm being a little generous. I might be lowballing to $1,000, but anyway. Like, you should be standing. You can get a screenshot. You can watch it on the network later, the Peacock, whatever, and get a screenshot of yourself cheering on. If you really, that's what I would do. If it were me, if I were me, that's what I would do. What? Yeah, I would just do that. But yeah, look, there's me. There's my memory of it. But I want my memory not to be me looking at my phone. I look at my phone all the goddamn time. It's terrible. You know, I want my memory to be me looking at Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns 4 feet away, which also you should move. Get the fuck out of the way. They go up on top of this ramp thing, and there's a big trestle, and they smash each other into it. Roman's getting his spine rammed into it. They're suplexing each other. Brock suplexing Roman overhead on the outside of the ring. And then Roman gets out some tables, and they were very careful here with Brock as the clear babyface now with this. So Brock's tossing Roman to and fro. He had a little trouble with the clothesline, getting him over the barricade early on, not the end of the world. And just like you would use the ring in this instance, where they use the environment is actually the first thing to get one over on Brock. And what I mean by that is, so the babyface is kicking the shit out of the heel, and maybe the babyface picks up the heel does just wiggles behind him, lands on his feet, pushes the babyface face first into the ring post, or whatever. Right? Where the babyface moves, the heel moves and the face charges, hits the shoulder into the ring post when they're inside the ring, and goes to the outside. That is the only cutoff that Braun Strowman can do for himself as a babyface ever. You'll never want to see that shit again. But then again, why are you rewatching the Braun Strowman matches? To relive the excitement of him and 10-year-old boys? That sounded wrong in the way I said it. So they did that. So Brock goes to scoop up Roman. Roman go behind Brock's face first into the big trestle thing. So, okay. Same concept, they're just not near the goddamn ring. And then Roman does a Samoan drop on Brock through one table. And then he gives him a rock bottom through another table. And they're doing all this stuff with the tables. They're barely in the ring, and Brock does a German suplex on the outside of the ring on Roman. So they're hitting each other with all the big stuff. They're doing their match. More outside than in. But if you notice, and I knew it. Because Roman is smarter than everybody thinks. Throughout the entire show, you saw the Mysterios use a chair here and there. No one picked up the goddamn steps. You did see, unfortunately, Logan Paul do the stupid frog splash through the table. And I think that was it. That was the second match. There was distance. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear later there was pushback, that there was some bitching about that. But that is what it is. At some point, and this is where things get wacky, I'm going to try to wrap this up as soon as I possibly can, I promise. Brock Lesnar, he moves the tractor back, because the thing with a last man standing match is you beat the guy up until he can't stand for the count of 10. So what that means is a lot of selling, and that means these matches can easily become slow. Especially especially towards the end, and it did, you're trying to do a bunch of false finishes, but between every false finish you have to do a slow 10 count of 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. In America, we use the state of Mississippi, one of our grossest states, to Mississippi's fine. Oh no, wait, they're really racist. We use one of our states to count in between, so it's like a long 1, a long 2. That's the point I'm getting at. So when you're trying to do a bunch of falsies at the end, well, what the hell happens? It slows down. So it's better to not do a bunch of false finishes at the end. just do one big move. That's why so many of these things in the last 20 years, they've ended with one big spot, one big table thing, or off a ramp through a platform type of fucking maneuver. Because we can't just be here all day counting to 9, which we were, and we often are in these things. So, anyway, while that's going on, and everyone knows Roman's getting up at the last second, Brock backs up the tractor, so it's no longer in the ring. Because here's the thing. The tractor front loader thingy was hanging over the ring, so there's this giant metal jagged thing that is not going anywhere that someone's going to lose a fucking eyeball or cut their goddamn head off on. Right? So there's no running the ropes in this match at all. I don't think... yeah, it's a goddamn show. He backs up the tractor, Brock does, and lowers the front loader thing, so now the ring is clear. There's a tractor at ring side, but the ring is clear. I'm like, okay, great, we got that out of the way. We're done with the tractor. Boy, was I wrong. He puts Roman in the front loader thing, gets back into the tractor, raises the tractor gimmick, and dumps Ceremony. Well, first he had Roman really high up, and I'm like, that's way too fucking high. He's going to get killed with this fall, because Roman's blind right now. Not literally, but he can't. He's stuck in this metal thing where he can't see what's coming and protect himself. But Brock does lower it, because apparently he's an expert at running these things. While he's tired and not thinking right, as you just struck the guy who's operating heavy machinery in the head with shit, but okay, that's WWE. He lowers the Roman as gingerly as he can. Gingerly, I'm redheaded, that's our word, I can say that. As gingerly as he can into the ring, and then they start counting again, and we try for... Did he even hit any F5s on Roman? He must have. He must have hit at least one. But anyway, Roman's getting up at 9, both feet barely, holding on to the rope, like barely. So, some stuff happens. Brock Lesnar gets back into the tractor and backs it up. Like, okay, great. So the tractor has been... The front loader thing has been hanging in the ring, out of the ring, and in the ring, and now it's out of the ring again, right? It's lowered, and now Brock rams the ring, moves the entire ring like a foot and a half. Really dangerous, because you don't know when the thing's going to start. And I've put together rings before, and obviously their ring crew and their safety is miles and miles above anybody else's, let alone the goofy indie things I was doing. We were afraid to lean on some of them goddamn things. We were taking bumps in them. But anyway, he smashes into this ring, moves it all over the place, and then, while Roman's in it, people are losing their minds because the ring doesn't move every day. And then he digs the front load thing underneath one corner of the ring, raises the ring up to like a 50-60 degree angle, and Roman tumbles out. And even that tumbling to the outside of the ring shouldn't be enough to knock him out for the 10 count. You're just making the guy tumble like you're a kid rolling down a grass hill. But just the spectacle of it, you'd think, well, this could actually be the fucking finish, because it's the biggest, most preposterous thing you can do. The ring is now a wall, and for anyone on that side of that ring sitting there could not see for the rest of the show, I'm sure. How could you? Take your pictures, I guess, but they have video walls and all that shit, but still, you paid. I don't know, that stuff always bugs me, but whatever. Nothing I could do about it, wasn't my idea. So the ring is on its side almost. And Paul Heyman just begs Lesnar. He hands him both belts. He says, it's over. Here you go. You're the champion. Can we be done? Like 20 years, I gave you this and this. Can we just stop the fighting? Lesnar gives him the F5 through the table, and Heyman is never touched. Ever physically touched, let alone bumped on anything or through anything. So the place exploded, because no one thinks that's ever going to happen. That doesn't happen at WrestleMania. It happened here. And it's fitting that if it does happen, it should happen at the last Brock-Roman match, which I hope it is, because then the story would mean more. But why do I think they're going to do the sell? I don't know. Anyway. Now maybe it is over. Maybe they knew. That's why they went all out with a million gimmicks. They just knew. Roman starts spearing Brock, and the Usos come out. Oh, and then Theory's music hits. He has the briefcase. Oh my God, everyone's down. Both Roman and Brock were down. The Theory hits. Oh, he's cashing it in. There's been a precedent. It's going to become a three-way or whatever. And Theory's going to win this somehow, and yada, yada, yada. But before he officially catches in, Brock gives him the F5 on the outside, which makes Brock turn around to take the spear from Roman. I thought that was the finish. No. A couple of spears from Roman. Brock keeps getting up. Usos running with a super kick, a double super kick. Brock still gets up. I know he suplexes one overhead as he suplexes the other guy on his head. I don't know about that. Looked really bad. The Usos, because the Usos were jumping in and I don't know, they kind of, it looks like they were on him kind of sloppily, and everyone's got it, Brock especially, has got to be exhausted at this point. So Roman just keeps hitting him with 2 belt shots, and Brock keeps getting up at the very, very last second as well. And I thought one of those belt shots was it, because they've used that as a finish before. Nope. So finally, Roman tells his Uso friends, and they all get all the garbage, the whatever new announce table there was, and some steps and some swivel chairs and this, that, and the other thing. They get all the garbage and the wreckage next to the ring that's almost standing up on its side. They get all that and bury him, and there's the 10 count. Actually, no, this was great. The referee looks at all of it, and I guess Rock was screaming because he couldn't breathe, and the referee just looked and he just rang it. He said, "The hell with it. We're done." And Cole was screaming at the referee. I can't remember the referee's name. Whatever. He was screaming at him. He's like, "Ring it," or he was yelling, "Count faster, count faster." He's like, "This is too much. Someone's gonna get killed out here." They were bleeping it. Sometimes whatever Cole was yelling, he would say "goddamn" or something like that. This was great drama. It felt real. I was invested. This was better than WrestleMania either night, in my opinion. This was the WWE. This was the wrestling pay-per-view of this year and the last several years. It is one of the most exciting and fun and memorable things I've seen from any pro wrestling in a long, long time. I think since pre-COVID, this is the best I've ever seen anyone do. I love and yeah, you could tell a wrestler's in charge because there were no bad finishes to any of these matches, in my opinion. Yeah, the Lesnar Roman thing is wacky as all hell. And the burial thing, man, it's been done on Last Standing before. Last Man Standing, but it needs to be something symbolic, and this was symbolic. Roman just used every shortcut and every bit of help that he possibly could, because he really couldn't beat the guy, but he needed to force the issue and say, "No, this is over. And we need the biggest, craziest spectacle we could possibly have." It's not like they had a feud about tractors and he drives a tractor. No, the word tractor has not shown up yet. How did this come to be, I'd like to know. Like, who started, I'm assuming Brock, who starts the tractor conversation? Whose idea, and how does it come to be where Paul Heyman agrees to that spot where he gets put through the announcer table? I don't fucking know. But Paul's weight broke that, but no reason, no resistance. He didn't have to worry about that table breaking. Rock snatched him up good too, because I mean, Paul's only going to post only so much off of Rock's body, because I don't imagine Paul is a great athlete. Paul Heyman, no offense, and also Brock is sweaty and probably oily or whatever, so you can't really push off him as well. It didn't really seem to matter. It was what it was. Maybe Brock's energy went into F5ing Paul Heyman through the thing. Last note on this, I mentioned the walkway, because now Paul Heyman has to sell for 8 days, and the Usos basically have to drag him up the ramp, and Roman has to drag himself up the ramp, and that is a long walk. And I think they just went off the air with, I don't even know if the guys were halfway down the thing, as they were just holding up the finger for the one, they're the ones, and holding the titles, and Roman was cutting some promo on the camera. They cut away and cut back, and he's still talking or whatever, and they were showing Brock and Michael Cole. People, I wish fans would not give that guy the shit they give that guy. Michael Cole Unleashed, which I think we heard that 1 year, 5-6 years ago, that first UK show, years 2017. Michael Cole, without Vince telling him what to say. Again, I know he's not born a wrestling guy, but he has been there since 26 years. Give the guy a break. When he was screaming, not just to ring the thing faster, but okay, get it off him, get the shit off him, get all the stuff off him, get it all off him, and Graves was like helping and shit. Like, that was beautiful, that was perfect, that makes sense. Because they needed to have, because they're just standing there, they needed to act like humans instead of going, well, we hope you enjoyed this on the Peacock. Tune in Monday at Raw. They know when Raw is. They're here. I believed Cole, and he wasn't screaming frantically having a heart attack, but he was urgently yelling like, there is a problem. I am a human. I know you can hear me in the truck. Send someone now. I know you hear me. Which he should. He should totally do that. And be concerned for his own safety as well. Which sounded authentic. Good job. Wow. Fuck, I'm sorry this was an hour. Hey, it was worth saying instead of me just bitching about Raw every week. So it was worth getting that out. Thank you, Bob Squad. I hope you enjoyed this recollection and some of my thoughts on a colossal improvement in matches, finishes. I thought Raw had more minute details improved with the same story, which makes sense because why would they rewrite it over the weekend? And this show felt satisfactorily conclusive with enough questions as to, whoa, what's going to happen next? We know Drew gets Roman, which I think we knew. It's Drew and Roman at that UK thing in 2 weeks. Bailey and Dakota and Io Shirai, what are they going to do with Bianca? And Bianca and Becky, it seems. That's the big question. Where do we go with Ronda and Liv? What's up with the Street Profits? Is Riddle going to get his? But it still felt satisfactory. It didn't feel like a bunch of unanswered questions. So, this was very, very, very good. Very good. I'll dare say I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I don't even know what... I don't know. I don't have a system there. I used to give it to everything stars. This gets 17,444 stars. How about that? There you go. That's my stars. Thank you, Bob Squad, for joining me on the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.